Hello. Today I wanted to share an experience that I have gone through a couple of years ago. I lived in Malta. This is a psychedelic experience. I took 1 tab of acid. Let's share some personal experience with psychedelics. I lived in this studio in Malta. The house that I lived in was more than 100 years old. It was a very beautiful studio. A bit old, but beautiful. I wasn't in the best place in my life. I was in a very dark period, and I needed to understand why I did the things that I did. I wanted to understand my patterns. I wanted to understand why I made decisions based on the decisions I made. I felt very hurt during that time of my life. I felt very broken, and LSD or shrooms or whatever psychic experience we go through, it kind of helps to open up our mind. It kind of helps to open up our awareness, and it gives us more access to our brain and our memories. We have a very protected brain. We have a very strong brain that usually doesn't want to think or remember traumatic experiences because it hurts, it's painful, and our brain wants to protect us, our ego. So LSD or whatever psychedelics, it really helps to get more access to memories from the past so we actually can remember them. It's hard to heal if we don't remember. I took the acid. I was in my room, I laid on my bed, and my intention was to find a solution on why I was behaving the way I was behaving, to go back to the past. I took the acid and I went into my mind because I thought that the problem is in the mind, so obviously the answer is also going to be in the mind. That was my logical explanation. I started to think. So my intention was to kind of understand or remember what my pattern was, what kind of patterns I had, and remember the experiences I went through so I could understand myself better. So I went on my bed, I took the acid, and I started to think. I wanted to come up with a solution, and as a human being, we usually want to use our mind to come up with a solution. So I started to dig deep in my mind and in the parts that is not really accessible when we are living in this 3D reality, when we are not opening up to other realms. So I asked questions. I asked myself questions. I dig deep. I asked about my past. I asked about my childhood, my parents, and the more I asked, the more questions emerged. It just gave me more and more confusion and more questions. And obviously I didn't find any solution. And I remember I was thinking, and it was just too overwhelming. It was too many thoughts, too many things going on in my mind, so it just got too much and I died. And then I was reborn again. And then I thought, okay, I didn't get the solution, I just died of pain because it hurt. Emotional, spiritual pain can't even be physical pain because it's all connected, right? But I didn't really feel physical pain, it was just emotional pain, and it felt like I was dying, but I wasn't really, physical dying, but it felt like I was dying. And I did it over and over and over again because I always tried to think about a solution instead of feeling it. And then all of a sudden the electricity went off. And I remember this very clearly because it got scary. It got pitch dark in my 100-year-old studio. I'm not sure if this has something to do with a trip, but I was gonna go and get a spoon from the kitchen because I needed to eat something, because we need to eat something when we're tripping as well, because it can take hours and then we get hungry. Usually I fast before I trip, or I fast before I take some kind of psychedelic because I think that's important. But during the trip you can get hungry, so I got hungry I went to the kitchen to get a spoon. It was pitch dark still, so I just needed to rely on my senses in the darkness. And I put my hand in the drawer with forks and knives and spoons. And I still remember this. And I put my hand on a cockroach. So I touched the cockroach on acid, and that was like, I got so freaked out. So I just ran back to my bed, put the dovet over my head, just tried to protect myself from the scary cockroach, which is just, you know, a cockroach can't really hurt me. I was probably a more threat to the cockroach than the cockroach was to me. So it might have a bit of a symbolic meaning there, actually, now when I'm thinking about it. But I'm not gonna go into that because I wasn't allowed to. So I went back to my bed. It was pitch dark. I was scared now because I felt a cockroach, you know. It was a very bad trip. I had a bad trip because I was dying. I didn't find a solution. I was just stuck in my mind. I got attacked by a cockroach. So I went back to my bed, and I remember I was so tired. I was like, I just need to find a solution. And this was the 9th time I tried to think of a solution again. No result. I died symbolically. I don't know. It just felt emotionally like I was dying. It's kind of hard to explain this by words, but I'm doing my best. So yeah, so I died the last time, and I remember, like, I can't do this anymore. So I just let go because my mind was screaming at me. It was screaming at me, so many things. It wasn't bad, it was just like so loud that I couldn't find peace. So I stopped thinking. I started a guided meditation on my phone because I needed some kind of guidance. I didn't have any guidance, I did it all by myself. So I didn't really know what I was doing, basically, because I'm not a shaman, I'm not a, you know, so I just did it on my own. After that 9th time of dying, I started this guided meditation, and I closed my eyes, and I just asked, please, can I get a new heart? And in my mind's eye, I saw my old heart, and it was very dark. It was green, but, you know, muddy green, like not beautiful green. Obviously all greens are kind of beautiful, but like this moss green, and it was like, it was very sad. The heart looked broken. Not broken, it was still a heart, but it looked gross. It looked gross. It was very sad to see. And I asked for a new heart, and I saw my heart transform into this new heart. And it was pink and light green, and it was beautiful, and I felt all of this unconditional love, and I felt all of this bliss within me, and I just got it, you know? I just, I am. I don't have to think, I just need to be. I just need to be. I was so happy. I felt this bliss, and I looked on my phone, and this guided meditation was still on, but the guided part has already ended, so it was just called meditation music. And I remember looking at my phone, and I saw the universe. So it looked like a galaxy when I looked at the phone, but the galaxy was moving, it was alive. And I remember holding my phone like this. I saw the universe in my phone, the universe. It's a bit hard to explain this by words, but it was the universe in my phone, alive. And I controlled it. So it was like a game in my phone, like a spaceship. You're just controlling where it's supposed to go. And I was just flying there in the middle of space, just going forward, or to the left, or to the right. So I was basically holding the universe in my hand, with my phone, control the universe. And after that, well, I kind of tried to think about what this trip meant. Because dying 9 times, just being stuck in my mind, trying to come up with a solution in my mind, realizing after 9 times that it's impossible because there was nothing to solve. I wasn't broken. And I do now, after 3 years, realize more and more what this trip meant to me. 9 is a very, very divine number. It is connected to individuality. It is also connected to the 9 lives of a cat. It is also connected to the 9-year cycle in numerology. In the Fibonacci code, 3, 6, and 9 are the most important numbers. Or was it Tesla who said that? Yeah, maybe okay, don't listen to this. Make your own research about this, but I think it was Tesla who said that 3, 6, and 9 are the most divine numbers. And yeah, that's the experience. So the solutions is not in our mind, and we can try to come up with solutions or ideas in our mind, but the more we think about it, we just create more questions. I don't know if this has to do with my 9-year numerology. So after my 9-year cycle, I will get out of my mind. Because the patterns, the reasons why I did the things that I did, it was because of my mind. It was because I thought something that wasn't true. I thought that something was true, but my mind maybe didn't want to see the truth. Because the truth, the reason why we behave in certain things and hurt other people, for example, it is because of us. And it's because of our memories and our old experiences and what we have gone through before. So if we are in a similar energy, we can get triggered by experiences, and we think that this is the reason why this is happening. But actually, the thing that is happening was just a little fly showing you this is the real issue. You were treated like this when you were a child, that's why you can't blah blah blah. You were left alone very many hours when you were a child, that's why you thrive when you're alone. You were bullied when you were a child, so maybe that's why you can't trust girls. I fucked up with a lot of my girlfriends because I was bullied by girls when I was a kid. Even though my girlfriends, when I was older, never did anything. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. Doesn't matter. It was more about my own sadness from being bullied as a kid by girls. It was only girls that bullied me when I was a kid. And that's why I've had a hard problem with being friends with girls. And it's not because of them. It's because of my own experiences when I was a child. Yeah. And because of that, because of my childhood, I lost a lot of friends because I couldn't trust them. And there was nothing to do with them. It has only to do with me. So I never really wanted to see that, obviously. We don't really want to see when we are the problem. Our mind doesn't like that because we have a strong ego. Not everyone. Most people can admit their mistakes, but not every person can do this because it's uncomfortable to realize that you have done something out of alignment of love, and you have mostly listened to your own mind. And it's funny because a couple of years ago I wrote this poem, and it's really connected to my happiness and my mind and who I am. So I'm gonna share it with you. Okay, so this is the poem that I wrote 150 weeks ago. It is 28th of April 2018. 28th of April 2018. Yeah, so that's almost 3 years ago. Oh wait, so the acid trip I took, it was like 4, 5. Oh, time. Oh my god, I'm just growing older and older, guys. Okay, I'm gonna read this poem to you now. Sometimes you say that you're okay, but words is just something we say. In reality, we are scared of changes and growth, or happiness or anger, or both. And we are trying to understand what life is all about. So we feel, we cry, or we laugh and we shout. But life wouldn't be so fun if we knew it all. Like why we are here, in this space, on this ball. I'll just think, I'll stop thinking, and then I will feel pretty fine. When I'm coming out of my mind, is that the time I will shine. And it's so true, because my mind, unfortunately, has just made it worse. Not all the time, and I do believe that we can grow beautiful flowers in our mind. You know, when we have a garden, let's compare our mind with a garden. We have a garden, and we have a lot of beautiful plants in the garden. But the plants just takes over. So the mind just takes over, and it gets too much plants. It gets an overflow of plants, and it's just all kind of different plants. Some has thorns, some are poisonous, you know. And we need to tend to our garden. We need to take care of our garden and cut away the nasty parts and take care and spray it with fertilizer and really give love and care to our mind. And if we have gone through hard experiences when we were a child, our mind gotta kind of grow the garden based on those seeds. So we all put seeds in our mind, and the first seeds we put in our mind is when we are very, very small. These are the biggest trees in our mind because these are the oldest seeds, the first seed that was planted. During our life, we grow older and we plant more and more seeds. And these seeds are kind of like who we think we are. It's just based on words or impressions from other people or from yourself or from your experiences. But then it comes a time when it gets over. I don't know what the name is in English, but it's like weed. It's called weed. Ogräs. Why is ogräs called weed? Because weed, you know, for me, weed is cannabis. But yeah, I'm talking about weed when it's getting an overflow of too much plants, basically. And we just need to tend to our garden and understand, is this flower really who I am, or is this just an impression of opinion of someone else? And then all of these seeds that we plant, they kind of shape our personality. They become our ego. So what we think we are, we become. But what we think we are is not only our opinions, it's also society, it's also our family and our friends and our relationships. Yeah. This is the experience of when I died 9 times when I took acid. The 9-year cycle, I would say that it can be, because I started a new 9-year cycle 2012. Beautiful number, beautiful year. A lot of people waking up at that time. I wasn't. I'm still not awake. But I'm more awake today than I was yesterday. I don't really feel done yet. And that's the sad part, because I know the answer. I know that the answer is not in my mind. But it's still like I'm too stubborn to just let it go until it's gone 9 times. And I don't know why. Something unconscious within me that decided, it may be a soul contract to myself or to people around me, that I need to do this for 9 years. And when I've done it for 9 years, I can let it go. I can shed the skin. And the funny thing is that I didn't really think about this when I took acid. It was 4 or 5 years ago. But I'm realizing it now, years later. Like, the solution was never in my mind. I've already been shown this. Why do I need to experience this? Why do I need to go through the 9 stages of dying? When I already know that I don't have to go through it, I don't need to suffer. I just need to be. But our mind is strong. and stubborn. At least my mind is very stubborn. And I don't know if you just want to make a point that, you know, I've showed you the future, bitch, so now you just need to experience it. That was my little experience of when I took LSD and died 9 times. I'm gonna read a poem again to just end it with that. Yeah. Sometimes you say that you're okay, but words are just something we say. In reality, we're scared of changes and growth, or happiness, or anger, or both. And we're trying to understand what life is all about, so we feel, we cry, or we laugh, or we shout. But life wouldn't be so fun if we knew it all, like why we are here in this space on this ball. I'll just think, I'll stop thinking, and then it will feel pretty fine. When I'm coming out of my mind, is that the time I will shine? Yeah, crystal DNA. That's all I have to say. Have a beautiful day. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more about my life and the things I do, you can press subscribe. Take care.